What up, nation? CK013 here. And today we're going to talk about leveraging ownership in NFL DFS. GPPs. Week 2 of the 2020 season is officially in the books, and it was a week riddled with a ton of injuries. I did think amongst the rubble, there was one good talking point, one good learning point, I think, for everybody who does play NFL DFS moving forward. And to be clear, before I make this video, this is in no way a humble brag. I had an awful week 2. I had one core player who did really well. The other 3 were terrible. And the one core player, however, is who this video happens to be centered around to some degree. And that player was Aaron Jones. So we're going to talk about Davante Adams. Davante Adams going into week 2 was coming off of just a smash fest against the Minnesota Vikings, an overrated defense in the 2020 season. Adams had 17 targets, 14 catches, just did a whole ton of dirties. And if you didn't have him in week 1, you probably weren't making any money. Because of that, there was a ton of recency bias in favor of Adams heading into week 2. And here's the thing. With NFL, we always talk about variance. Injuries can happen. Sometimes guys just have off days. Sometimes game plans just aren't what you thought they were, such as the Herndon situation over with the New York Jets. Despite not having any receivers, we all thought Herndon would get more targets. He did not get more targets. With that said, we are here to talk about Davante Adams, Aaron Jones. Davante Adams was the second highest owned player in the DraftKings Millie Maker at 26.26%, with a price increase, this time at home, and what appeared to be a really good matchup. And it was a really good matchup. I don't think that Adams failed because the Detroit defense, shut him down, right? Like, obviously he got hurt. But usually when you approach a situation, if you know Davante Adams is popular and there aren't really a ton of like true things you can really make, true arguments you can make against him in a situation, you can just fade the player, which is obviously one way to just avoid that trap. However, in some instances, in this instance, what really stood out to me, the reason I liked it the most was because I didn't really see the Packers failing, right? So it was hard to see the Packers not putting up points in this spot at home with their skill players in that matchup against that defense. However, there was a path, like if the Packers do well, and Davante Adams is not the guy who goes off, then who is it? And to me, that guy was Aaron Jones. And in the ownership, it really worked out great. Davante Adams was, like I said, second highest owned player in the DraftKings Millie Maker. Aaron Jones was down around 8%. Even Aaron Rodgers, because of the pairings of Adams and Jones. And you got to think, right? Like, unless a ton of people are playing Aaron Rodgers, which ownership on him was probably inflated as well, but unless a ton of people are playing Rodgers, and even if they are, there's probably going to be a lot of people who are hesitant to play Aaron Jones. And that's because they're so big on Adams. They want Adams to eat. They don't want anyone taken away from him. So, and that's exactly what happened here. Rodgers had decent ownership. Adams had high ownership. And then Jones was kind of left in the dust for the people that didn't want to play him because they were big on Adams. So I think using that to your advantage, looking at the ownership of a player and deciding, okay, this guy's going to be popular. You can either play him and just hope that it's good chalk and get different somewhere else, or you can look and say, how does this fail? And in this situation, while Adams did get hurt, you could have made the argument that, well, if Adams does fail, that would, in my opinion, mean Aaron Jones is going to do thy dirty to thy neighbor, which is exactly the case. Now, hindsight is 20/20. You take chances on these situations, and you're wrong about them from time to time. Derrick Henry was a good example. It would have been an example of where it was a little harder to figure out who's doing it. Maybe it's not Henry. Maybe it's Corey Davis. Maybe it's Humphreys. Maybe it's Jonnu Smith. But in this situation, this is an example of when it does work, how things can go. Adams put up, I think, 44 DraftKings points in week 1. Aaron Jones put up 48 in week 2. So again, just wanted to touch base. Hopefully this helps you guys. Just something to kind of put into your memory bank as you move forward onto week 3 and beyond. Just a way to put on some game theory to get you want to play. There were a ton of running backs to pick from, and position scarcity and all these things do play into account. It's not just one thing. I'm just hoping that we point out what really pushed us onto Aaron Jones. It wasn't so much that we thought Aaron Jones was in a better spot than Adams. It was really about being tournaments trying to get different, knowing that Adams was going to be a big flavor of the week because of week 1. And acknowledging that Adams and the Packers in general are in a really good situation. They are in a really good matchup. So how does this happen? If this, not even how does this happen, but if this happens, then what is the result? If Davante Adams does not smash the slate again, but we believe the Packers are in a spot where they should perform well regardless, then who is that player at lower ownership that we could pivot to? And in this case, it worked out. So again, it doesn't always work out, but shit, sometimes it does, and that's GPP life. That's going to do it. Appreciate if this helped you out. Please like this video. Please share this video. It really goes a long way with us. Helps us out. We are here to help make you a better DFS player, and we appreciate the love, man. We appreciate the support. With that said, for myself, the entire Wise Tech Nation, as always, good luck.